All right, welcome to the TRESR January recap. That's right, we have rebranded and renamed. NF TRESR is no longer We Are TRESR due to community vote, and I apologize it's taken so long to get this community recap for January out. I can't believe we're already a week into February. I have had back-to-back phone calls. We're doing some events, some interesting wholesale things happening. So I'll dive right in and try to give the high level of that. And then I did a great interview with Clint from the Botcast where I really tried to articulate what happened over the last year, where we're headed, the things that are in the pipeline, and all of the new tech that is being built. And so I've tagged that on to the last part of this video because I think it does a pretty good job of showcasing what we think the next 90 days to 6 months looks like. Anyhow, 11 keys minted in January. This was the total at the end of January, 7,030 keys. We finally broke through that 7,000 barrier, and we've actually had another 31 keys minted just in the first week of February. We'll talk about why that is, but all good news. A little bit lower month as far as revenue goes. E-commerce revenue was actually up. I think we're around 5,500, and agency revenue was down, not because we weren't doing agency work, but we have a couple of invoices that are out that haven't been paid yet. So I just decided not to include those until they get paid. So those will likely jump onto the February total. But 10,259 all in for ecom and agency work. That puts us at 12,924 being the monthly average since inception of last January. And we started a new year-to-date total. So 10,259 is our total thus far for 2025. You can see I've replaced the NF TRESR slug with the TRESR slug here, and that is because the community voted to change the project name from NF TRESR to TRESR. We had a bunch of community discussion in Discord around this, along with the snapshot vote. It was overwhelming, 99% plus voted in favor for the change to TRESR. So if you're curious about why we did that, and this is the first that you're hearing of it, you can see all of that community dialogue in Discord. But the TLDR was that we have some larger retail partners that we've been talking to. Several have said they don't like the NFT connotation in the name, so we dropped it to make things cleaner and to have a tighter ship moving forward that lives under the TRESR brand. Along with that, we had the new V2 product creator tool and website that launched this month. The new store is live. The new product creator tool is live. You can go and make hats. You can go make trading cards. You can make hoodies. We've got a new boxy wide t-shirt that you can use. Yeah, all that is up. Canvases are up. Super easy to use. And we will be migrating from nftresr.com to TRESR.io this month, and it's a relatively simple change. We just are waiting for all of the branding materials to get together so that we can do that all at once. We also launched our dynamic SEO pages. Let me see if I can show you one of those real quick. Okay, so this is what our dynamic SEO pages look like, and when you create a product in the product creator tool, essentially what's going to happen after you've uploaded all of the artwork is it's going to take you to a page where you can add a title and some tags to that design. When you add tags to your design now, you'll start typing, you'll see the tags that are available here, and anytime somebody adds a tag into NF TRESR, it is going to create a SEO page for this. So this is dynamically created by the AI engine that we built. It basically puts the tag into a page that's optimized for Google to see that tag for t-shirts, hoodies, boxy tees, trading cards, sweatshirts, flat brim hats, curved hats, art canvas, and it shows you all of the garments that have been tagged under that particular tag. And then if I throw a tag in that doesn't have a design yet, it will say, lucky you, you're first, and it asks them to create something. We are in the process of syncing this up with the Deck Screener API and testing this with around 100 keywords right now. But this is something that is really going to elevate the amount of organic traffic we get to the site, because we're going to start ranking for all these keywords, especially for new tokens that get spun up, because we'll be the only merch store for that. And then what we'll be building out is a leaderboard where you'll be able to see which tags and keywords are getting the most organic traffic. And so you'll be able to say, oh, wow, that page is getting 1,300 organic visitors a week. And I could make a design better than the ones that are listed there right now. I should make a design. And so this will be a way for you to identify where you can make more revenue by tapping into some of this organic traffic. So a work in progress, but really excited about being able to spin these up so quickly. And, if you type something like spiritual crypto merch, this was something I was testing around with. So obviously this isn't a wildly popular keyword, but there are some other pages that are available, and NF Treasure is already being indexed as spot number 1. Even if you go into an incognito page and type this in, will be index number 1, because our AI is seeding the site index for these tag pages into Google, and oftentimes they're getting indexed within 48 hours. This is going to be a really valuable tool over time for us to look at which keywords are popular, have people develop designs for that, and optimize those pages to become the number 1 merch shop for a bunch of different keywords and projects. So super stoked about that. And that's one of many things that we can now do with the underlying infrastructure that we built in our custom e-commerce system. So as always, you can see the global stats for the project at treasureterminal.com. It's on this next page here, but you can see that really there's this is going to be the last month of rewards in the bonus pool, and then we'll be moving to a 10% treasure buyback, and the treasure that is purchased will then be distributed through the bonus pool for the month to follow. So we'll take 10% of revenue in February, and that will be used to buy back treasure tokens. And then the treasure tokens that are distributed in March will be the tokens that were purchased from the buyback in February. So more on that to come, but the bonus pool is almost up. And then it's just the 188.5 million treasure that remain in the key rewards pool. You can up-level your keys relatively cheap now because of the price action on Smarter. So I see a lot of people max up leveling keys, and you can see that in the cumulative key level on the rise. Okay, what else did we have going on? I'm still optimizing some of the event tracking. So basically, one of the things that happens on a traditional website, and when you're running ads on places like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, etc., is that you're relying on the fact that somebody doesn't have a pop-up blocker or a VPN or something like that to get enough meaningful data to be able to know if something converts. And so one of the things that we've implemented is server-side events, and server-side events allow us to see how people are moving through the site, not necessarily knowing who they are, but at least knowing, did certain site traffic or actions convert? And this allows our ads to be much more effective. And so once this event tracking is I didn't mean to cross that out. Once this event tracking is set up, which should be ideally by Monday, if not this weekend, I'll be flipping all the ads back on, and we will be testing a category brand strategy that I have that I think is going to be effective. The other thing that we're working on in the background, other than just fine-tuning everything on the site and working out some things with some potential partners, is we have a AI merch creator deployed to a serverless testing environment. What we're doing is we're training an AI on a bunch of different screen print ideas and a bunch of different images. And so we'll have these different models that you'll be able to use to actualize your ideas around whatever you want. So this will no longer limit your creativity to whether you have technical talent or not. It will allow you to create really cool merch designs that are optimized for good printing and good sales structure. So that as we put that opportunity board up and you see these keywords that you can be making t-shirts for, now it just comes down to your discernment to being able to dive into those communities, know the phrases and the things that are most interesting to them, and then you'll be able to create really high quality merchandise with the merch creator tool. So I'll show you. So here is something that I created with the merch bot that we're building out. And basically I was playing around with some ideas around some of the woo-woo stuff that I'm into, and I gave this a few keywords, and it put together this design that says, "Dear Crypto Gods, meet my quant." If you're a spiritual woo-woo person, you'll get that. But this will be the type of stuff that you'll be able to create very quickly. This took about 2 minutes to get spun up and then added into the store. And I think this is going to allow us to really elevate the design game and how we're able to spin up design ideas for various communities pretty quickly. Another one I was playing around with, if you type AVAX yacht incident, this was basically a tweet that I had written about the Avalanche yacht incident, and it was this thing that happened at Art Basel. I basically just put that tweet into the merch creator. It spit out this t-shirt design, which I thought was pretty cool. Signal is something that I had in my tweet, and then it put it up on the store. So once this is all dialed in, this is going to be a really effective way for people to create high quality designs that are actually saleable to cold traffic via SEO and ads. So that opportunity board that's coming that showcases which pages are getting, or which tags are getting the most organic traffic, is going to be, I think, a game changer in how we can all earn more revenue through commissions in the e-commerce store. You can see that we had a little bit of an uptick in key supply, and we'll talk about why that is in a second. Treasure supply obviously continuing to being burned and reduced. Our VE treasure holders are about the same, although a couple of neck and neck items here from people battling it out for third and fourth place. Staked treasure looking about the same, and the treasure LP looking about the same. You can click into this and go to treasureterminal.com. This is a tool that Gribbly has set up for the community, and this is what this tool looks like. And it's really cool because in real time, you can type in any of these keywords over here, the available commands, and hit enter, and it will pull in real time the stats. So this is a really interesting way to kind of figure out how you should be positioning against other players in the DeFi game. And then the Smarter AVAX LP, we had a few people removing LP, so you can see a little bit of drop off there. And a big part of that is that we have been talking as a community about whether we should whitelist the 7,000 and change keys that have already minted and just allow those keys to use Smarter for upgrading moving forward, and then switch to the remaining 4,900 keys to be upgraded only using Treasure. It would be a comparable value to what the median upgrade fee has been over the last 3-4 weeks. But I encourage you to go into Discord and to look into all of the reasoning behind why we might want to switch from Smarter as the burn token to Treasure as the burn token for the remaining keys. Everybody that already has minted a key would still be able to upgrade with Smarter, but any new upgrades, you could decide, do you want to use your Treasure or do you want to use Smarter? So ongoing discussion. Be sure to check out the vote that's live in the announcements section. And I will highlight some of the top creators that we had this month in the e-commerce store. A few of these are wholesale deals that I did. So we had a trading card that went out to AVAX NFT Paris that the Avalabs team purchased. We had a new partnership with a redacted gaming team that I cannot announce yet, but this is going to be a really cool partnership. They're doing a bunch of events. iHuddle Life continued to be our best retail e-commerce partner. Then Pangolin. Swole Beach launched a new hoodie, and they've got a new hat and embroidered sweatshirt coming out. Some Kakanu and Botcast gear, and then the Sickos gear continues to be a good seller. So not as much selling happening in the month of January. Some of that was us switching to the new site and getting things dialed in there. And some of it is that we need to do a better job on the new site of highlighting recent designs. One of the things that we will be adding in the next few days is the ability to sort by both popular, so you can see the best sellers, or recent, so you can see all the new stuff that's getting added to the store. Our discovery on that is poor right now, and I think once it's better, we'll be getting more engagement from the community because there's some interesting designs that have been uploaded. And then as we dial in the SEO and get the ads going, really a lot of our e-commerce sales have been based on retargeting, where somebody comes and they view something in the store, and then we hit them with a few ads, weeks or months later, and they eventually buy something. With those ads off, our conversion has gone down, but we expect that conversion rate to be a little bit higher with this new event tracking that we'll have in place ideally by Monday. We already covered that, and I think everything else that I want to say in the update is something that I covered in the episode of the Botcast. So I'm just going to tag that onto the end of this video, and you can listen to Clint, Wex, and I talk about what's happening in TRESR, why we're moving from NF Treasure to TRESR, some of the new things that are in the pipeline, some clarity on kind of what TRESR actually is and where we want to head. Really great conversation. I think you're going to learn a lot about how we're thinking about the project and some of the opportunities that are coming up. So that will be here in 1 second, but I do want to announce that we are no longer OTCing TRESR. The Treasury is actually acquiring TRESR through whatever mechanisms it can. And remember, those buybacks will start at the end of the month, the 1st of March. We did refill, to some extent, the Smarter OTC contract. So if you want to support the project to upgrade your keys, you can use the OTC to purchase Smarter OTC. And now that is the January update. Let me know if there's anything else that you are curious about or have questions about in Discord. We do have a community AMA with Mikkel and I that will be happening next week, along with a few other items that I will put into a Discord announcement when they're ready. But stay tuned for the conversation that I had with Clint and Wex about TRESR, the future of TRESR, where things are headed, how people can earn revenue and ramp up their commissions, and all of the tooling that will be popping up over the coming weeks and months in order to elevate our brand, both to outside partners that are interested in investing in Project Y, but to content creators and creators within our community who are looking to build passive income and mailbox money from the DeFi game, and also looking for unique strategies to amplify the commissions that are being paid out each month to them. So that's all for now. Check out the rest of the podcast. We'll see you in the next one.
Mr. John Ray, Michael Sugarberry, tell me, how are you currently doing, and how is the business going with NF TRESR? Give us some updates, man. Talk to me.
Yeah, well, what's crazy is that almost to the day, it was a year ago when I came on the Botcast for the first time and announced that the NF Treasure e-commerce store was going live. So we have just over a year of sales, and if you include the trading cards that we've done, we've had over 10,000 items shipped out in a year that are NFC connected, and thousands of people coming through the store. It's been really crazy to look back on the year's numbers and just look at everything that our community built. And so There's been a lot of learnings, and my lead developer, Mikkel, our lead developer, and our front end designer, Joe, are in the process of going through all of the data from the last year to kind of do a year in review. What did we learn? What can we do moving forward, building off of this momentum? And that'll be a self-contained video that goes out into our Discord probably next week sometime. But the biggest thing I think that we learned building NF Treasure over the last year was that people will 100% buy crypto merchandise. And if you can tap into popular metas, themes, and projects, there's money to be made just by putting a design on a t-shirt. And I think the other thing that we learned was it is expensive and takes longer than anyone ever thinks to build out the full vision that you have for a tech company. So a lot of the things that we have been talking about for the last year connected to the NFC chip, this ability to tap into deeper community, do affiliate selling, be able to easily share contact information, be connected with other like-minded people that also bought that product, be able to engage with the creator or brand that created the design that you bought. That's all been in the pipeline, and the reason that it hasn't come out yet is we started building that all on the Shopify API, and Shopify in the middle of the year basically shut down our access to the API because they didn't like some of the Web3 crypto stuff that we were doing. They were constantly shifting their API and their terms of service for what was possible for a crypto company. And really, we realized in this summer that the gatekeeping wasn't going to work for what we wanted to do. It wasn't going to give us the flexibility that we needed. And then they would make huge changes to their API without even notifying their developers. So we ultimately decided that we needed to build our own back-end e-commerce infrastructure that allowed us to do whatever we wanted to do, would allow us to connect into all of the GPT and AI stuff that we wanted to create. And so we for the past 6 to 9 months, we've been building out this back end infrastructure that then allows us to more rapidly build some of the feature sets that we feel are going to bring a true sense of community engagement to our merchandise. In the process, we also, through our advisory board and some of the people that I do consulting with, it became very obvious that B2C businesses, which is what an e-commerce business is, when you're selling a product directly to customers, that's a B2C business, and it's a very difficult thing to scale unless you are one of the top 1% of marketers and have a product that has virality built into it. And we knew that starting out, and we knew that we were going to have to be the little engine that could. I think I can, I think I can, I think I can. And so we've been in that mode, and we've scaled from $2,000, in January of last year in income to our highest selling month being close to $40,000 this year in merchandise sales. So that has shown us that there is a path to winning the B2C game, and I'll tell you what our plan is to do that. That's the unicorn opportunity in NF Treasure. It's being able to distribute products that utilize our NFC technology and the community reward system that will be connected to that, and getting those products into the hands of millions of people. However, every single advisor that you meet, every startup advisor, anyone who's telling you how to make your first million, they will all say you should build a B2B business. You need to sell high ticket products that solve very specific problems so that you can charge more money and retain top tier talent. And so that's what we did. We have a top tier team of marketers, developers, consultants, advisors, and the way that we're able to sustain that top tier group is through the NF Treasure agency side of things. So we do consulting for a bunch of different projects in the space. I moved my entire consulting business under the NF Treasure umbrella, and that has allowed us to basically
be self-sustaining, run a payroll of tens of thousands of dollars every single month, maintain these top tier talent for an extended period of time, and give them the runway to really think about what does the unicorn opportunity look like. And for us, what we feel it looks like, and what we are teed up to distribute now, is NFC physical products that, when you scan your sleeve, connect you in to a community feed of other people that are filtered by the product that you purchase. So it could be by the design that you bought, it could be by the brand that you bought from. At the larger level, it could be a certain product that's released by, a big shoe brand, or a big retail brand. And we are working on a GPT product that's connected to our NFC chip that allows those brands to collect stories and information from the community, and then aggregate that in an interesting way. So that we think is the unicorn play, and we're talking to several VCs that really dig that idea, and are helping us figure out what that should look like, and we'll decide as a community if it makes sense to take on additional funding this year or not. So I'll pause there and say everything that we've built allows us to now actualize that opportunity. And so there's some really interesting things that allow us to rapidly scale on the B2C side. One is dynamic SEO, and I'll talk about how AI plays into that and how we already have a working model of that. Another is the AI engines for creating images, as we've seen with Cock AI, are absolutely incredible now. We've been in the process of training a GPT on good screen printing and good merchandise design. And over the coming months, probably, we will be releasing a tool where anybody can basically drop some text or a tweet into this tool, and it will create a marketable design that is related to that, immediately add it to the store, and immediately SEO it for all of the relevant keyword tags. This is going to solve one of the main issues, is that when people upload designs for a project, almost always those designs, if the project promotes the design, will sell at least one thing. The problem is that there's tons of enthusiastic people in all of these different projects and all of these different interest groups that want to create merchandise, but they don't feel like they have the design talent to be able to do that. And so by using the TRESR merchandise bot, where it's going to make it a lot easier for anybody that's enthusiastic on a project to create a screen print worthy design to go on a piece of merchandise that will then have a higher conversion rate, because it actually looks like it was done by a screen printing designer. And we'll be building out a leaderboard that showcases the projects that have the most signal for people in our community to then go and submit designs for. One of the big issues with AI right now, as anybody developing with any of these engines knows, is that without some kind of human quality assurance, sometimes the AI goes a little bit wonky, and so you don't want to just create 100,000 merch designs that no human has ever looked at, because you end up with a site that has a bunch of AI garbage. There's merchandise stores that have already done that, and it's not a great shopping experience. So we had to figure out, how can we get human capital and people who actually know about these projects and these interest groups to use the AI and basically offer quality assurance, and only put a design on a piece of merchandise once they've identified that the AI did a design that is worthy of what that project is trying to communicate. And so this new AI bot will allow for that when it's ready. And so then the final piece, and then I'll stop talking and you can ask some questions, is we built our custom e-commerce system to be able to utilize something that I've been studying for the last year, which is called dynamic search engine optimization. And so what all of the top e-tailers are doing now is they'll spin up 100,000 pages for all of the keywords that they feel are relevant to what they have in the store in order to capture as much organic search traffic as possible. Well, because we have our custom product creator tool at nftreasure.com, and it's a new tool, super easy to use. I think it's one of the easiest product creator tools on the market right now. What we're doing is we are taking the deck screener API, we're scanning for any meme coin project that has probably it'll be a $10 million market cap or more on every single blockchain. Then we're feeding that into AI that is then writing and creating in real time dynamic merch store for each of those tokens. So these could be tokens that just got launched today, and there's thousands of them that get launched. But we will immediately have a page that says you know X coin merch. When you search for that, will be the first thing to show up in Google, because we'll literally be on the day of already have a merch store spin up. It'll be the only thing there for those keyword phrases. What this will do is over time, it will start to slowly capture people from that community that start to search for merchandise. And if there's not a design up on that merch page yet, it will have a big box that says, you're lucky you're number one. You could start earning by creating merch today. And then they click start creating, and it tells them how to use the merchandise creator tool. What we'll be building out is a leaderboard that looks at all of these tens of thousands of pages and keywords that we're running pages for. And it'll be an opportunity leaderboard where we'll be able to say, okay, these 100 pages are actually starting to get organic traffic from Google, meaning humans are clicking from Google and going to these pages, but there's no designs here. So the pages that have the most human traffic going to it and the least number of pages will be marked as the highest level opportunity. And then our community will be able to seize on that leaderboard, create designs around that, and it will solve for the other problem that we have, is that if you don't have a huge following and you don't know how to run ads, it can be difficult to start to gain traction for your designs or your brand within NF Treasure. This solves for that because you'll be able to go to the opportunity leaderboard and you'll be like, holy crap, this meme coin's getting like 1,000 clicks a week and there's hardly any designs on here. I could do something better than this one. And so you'll be able to capture some of that traffic, which equates to more commissions in our community's pocket. So I'm super excited about all that. There's some other things that we can talk about, but I'll pause there and get some feedback from you.
Well, the TLDR, from what I'm understanding, is that NF Treasure is cooking on all cylinders, and it's just, again, putting more and more power into the hands of the community. I mean, this AI image generation that you've been referencing, and that I've been seeing, just continue to accelerate in its ability to deliver on some incredible image generation. I mean, to be able to monetize something instantaneously, like one thing that was said last night on the Cocknet show that immediately reminded me of NF Treasure and just kind of the conversations that we've had a few times. And I want to also say it's crazy to think that a year ago, maybe to the day, was the first time you were making your first appearance on the podcast. And I think that was even like the first time that we started to talk, right? Like I didn't even have, I think, the podcast logo back then, right? I put out a tweet to Risa, or I just put out a tweet and then Risa jumped in the comments, and we worked out a deal, and he was able to spin up this incredible podcast logo. And then John Ray was launching NF Treasure, and I was like, yo, John, is there any way I could, make some merch with NF Treasure? And he's like, hell yeah. And then talk about a white glove experience. And again, just kind of seeing all of that, like you were actually a big impact. You had a very big impact on me when I first came into the crypto space back in 2021, when I was the exit liquidity for the pump, right? Going into Wonderland and then learning about Smarter and Jade, and watching your videos on YouTube, and, paying attention to sometimes what you were putting out on Twitter. It wasn't much of a Twitter ad at all back then. but it's just kind of cool to just see the evolution, and now to see where you're at going into 2025, and just how you guys are cooking on all cylinders and what you guys have been building. It's honestly it's inspirational as fuck, man. It really is. And not only are you like building a model, a business model that's successful, but it's like a win on all fronts. Like the community is with you on this. You know what I mean? I don't know if that makes sense, but it's a win-win in my opinion across the board. And I was kind of the question that I had. We got a Wex with Cock Media account with his hand up. Bok to you, Wex. Happy Friday. How are you doing?
Hey, Bok. Epic as always. But let me TLDR this, Clint, because you left that one thing. And John's not going to show it. But you know what? Because it's Friday night and the TRESR's hanging on the east side. If you don't think this fucking thing is going to be a unicorn, I don't know what else. I'm not talking about UFD meme coin. I mean like a legit unicorn. TRESR is heading in crazy, crazy directions. This is one of those things, and in the coming years, they're going to look back and they're going to be like, are you telling me that we basically had like 9 or 10 months to scoop up as many of that native coin as we could have, and we didn't do it? Clint, I'm telling you right now, it's going to be that kind of conversation. What John and the team are building, it's next level. They're ahead of the curve. They've already peered around the bend. They've already set up to capture ridiculous value. It's one of the only protocols I've seen to date that actually makes legit revenue, like legit, from the e-commerce side, and it's going to scale tremendously. So, full disclosure, I'm a freaking NF Treasure bull. I think the TRESR token and the TRESR keys, I mean, I don't know why people wouldn't want to get this thing. But Clint, it's one of these things where down the road, people are going to look back and be like, I can't believe, they had a crazy window. I think the coin launched, I want to say in February or March, if I'm not mistaken, of 2024. So this is like a long time coming, and you already see now where it's heading. I've seen few protocols be able to execute like this. Peace and love, fam. Wex out.
And one thing that I'll add to that, that I don't chill this a lot, but now that the president is dropping shit coins, I'm going to say it as bluntly as I can. The purpose of the NF Treasure DeFi game and minting a treasure key is for revenue distribution of the e-commerce store. My legal team has wanted me to dance around that for as long as I can remember, and it has made it difficult to explain to people why the DeFi game is important. But it's because you will capture mailbox money forever based on the percentage of the treasure supply and the voting escrow that you earn by staking it. And we are in a crypto, no rules, do whatever you want, wild, wild west world now. And that is the most bullish environment for the type of project that we've built, because as we scale revenue, that gets distributed back to our VE treasure holders via the bonus pool. And so there's a lot to unpack in the DeFi game, and I don't really want to go into all the weeds of it on this particular call, but just know that the point of the DeFi game is to fairly distribute the treasure token. That distribution will end likely Q3 of this year, depending on how many keys are minted and what level they're at which point the DeFi game is over, because the treasure token will have been fairly distributed, and we will start massive buybacks from the e-commerce store and agency services that we're offering that will be distributing back to the community. So the goal from now until the time that we hit supply cap is to accumulate as big a percentage of the treasure supply as possible and stake that for voting escrow, and up level your keys by purchasing smarter and burning it off the face of the planet so that we can get rid of that token and focus on treasure as the value capture mechanism. It is a mailbox money play. And if you think that anything that we're building is going to be successful from a revenue perspective, you get to go out to your mailbox and unpack that check. That's what we used to do in the 90s. And basically, as long as you have your treasure staked, and as long as Treasure is a brand, you will continue to earn from that position that you've carved out. But the reason we call it a game and the reason that it's PvP is because a bunch of other players are already staking treasure for voting escrow. And so the later in the game you come in staking your treasure, the harder it's going to be to catch up with those people, which means that you have to have a larger supply of the treasure. You have to have a larger amount of treasure staked in order to catch up with the rest of the people in the game. Anyhow, a bunch of dynamics there, but everything that we're building is so that that will be the juiciest distribution that crypto has ever seen. And I feel like we are doing our tortoise and hare little engine that could run to cross the finish line and deliver that for our community. And there's going to be plenty of hype projects that go up and down in the next few years, but we will keep inch by inch growing, delivering value back to our community. And the way that you lock in and capture that is minting as many keys as you feel comfortable minting and up leveling those so that you can start earning treasure and then staking that for voting escrow. So that is how you get to extract value from the real world revenue system that we've built through the treasure merchandise. And so I guess now that I'm off my soapbox now and my rant is finished, I think we can talk about why we started with NF Treasure and the reason that we have a proposal up right now to rebrand as Simply Treasure. So I'll pause there and then we can dive into that.
John, you said a key word that I pick up on. It's a word that when I hear, my ears start to perk up. And I kind of wanted you to just reiterate the point, like in a TLDR manner. And the word that I'm referencing is mailbox money. Mailbox money. I love that word. I love that word. I actually would like a shirt that says mailbox money because, you know, that passive income. So beautiful. So can you just give a quick TLDR, right? You were talking about the treasure token, right? You were talking about Smarter, and you were talking about keys, emitting treasure, and the treasure game, which ultimately leads to, you said, mailbox money. Can you reiterate that point real quick?
100%. So in the olden days when I was coming up as an entrepreneur, the anytime you so I was an actor in my early 20s and I'm not sure if this is where the term originated, but it's where it originated for me and my consciousness. So I used to be in a bunch of commercials in my early 20s, Toyota, a bunch of the Saatchi and Saatchi stuff, Dell computers, and these were big national commercial campaigns. And what would happen when you were a SAG actor is you would get paid a lump sum on the front end, but then you got what was called back end points or mailbox money. And the reason that they called it mailbox money is because every single affiliate that aired your commercial, and there's hundreds of them across the country, they would each write you a commission check for basically licensing your image to run on their airwaves. So I would go to my mailbox some days in the early 2000s and literally have 100 checks in there, and each check would be for like $3.80. And then I would have to sign all of these checks. I eventually got a stamp. And then go and deposit 100 checks in order to deposit like $380. But every single day, I would get hundreds of checks in the mail, and this would go on. I would record a commercial, and for years later, I would get these $3 checks a day, and so that's the concept of mailbox money. It's this idea that you do something once, and then there's a passive income stream that continues to flow to you for many years following.
I love that. Yeah, and so the DeFi game, right? That's at stake with treasure, and the keys emitting treasure. When did you say that we're going to reach the cap, where all of the treasure will then be in circulation and there will be no more emissions from keys? You said later this year, Q4, I think you said.
Yeah, so it's somewhat going to be dependent on gameplay, but likely it will be in Q3 at some point when we hit the supply cap. So there's I think around 190 million treasure that are still locked in the rewards contract to be distributed through the key game. And so based on current key levels, I think that puts us around the beginning of Q3 for hitting the supply cap. And then for the bonus pool, we'll hit the supply cap in March. And so the bonus rewards, which is a separate pool of rewards, will run out in March. And so we will start small e-commerce buybacks of treasure starting in March.
Oh
So the
man,
treasure buybacks start in March,
that's pretty bullish.
but it's going to be small amounts early on, and then as we hit the full treasure cap, it will expand to larger and larger amounts. And
Wow.
so basically the way it's written right now is we'll be buying back 10 to 40% of whatever comes through the e-commerce store will be directed towards treasure buybacks as long as we're clearing what we call the hurdle rate, which is our monthly expenses.
Which is
Well, right now our monthly expenses are around $50,000 a month, and most of those are being paid by the agency side of things. The reason they're so high is because we have a ton of people that work on our agency
right, right,
campaigns.
right. No, I'm just
So
again, I just want to reiterate that. Like, John, you're running a legitimate business that has $50,000 of monthly expenditure. Like, it's incredibly. I mean, that comes with it a lot of responsibility, and it's just cool, man. Like watching you grow this business, and then how it's going to affect the direct investors into NF Treasure in the future. Like, I'm bullish on you, man. It's really cool to watch this happen. It's
I
cool.
appreciate that. Yeah, sometimes that's nerve-wracking, but I'm pretty good at getting into my Zen space and trusting that the miracle is already here, and then I just vibe with it.
And that, again, the spiritual grounding that you have, right? Spiritual awareness, spiritual foundation, so crucial, man. And it's something that I really enjoyed talking to you about on some of these, cosmic Saturday night Wex after darks that we deeply miss. Hint, hint, wink, wink. Bringing those back would be an epic bonus to the community. But even the conversations, the conspiracies that we've done on stream a couple of times, Friday night conspiracy. So spiritual foundation, man, so crucial, and it leads to a certain level of conviction that I have within you to continue to grow and scale NF Treasure, and watch it grow into what I think can be a multi-million-dollar a year business. That's just the beginning of it too. But seeing NF Treasure do $1 million in a month in sales, watching all these SEO hits on Google, people searching up stuff and then just buying merch, watching the community continue to put to practice building their own brand, making their own type of merch, marketing that merch. I mean, it's an incredible business model. I'm very bullish on the DeFi side of things, how it's intertwined with crypto. It's the perfect bridge, in my opinion, between Web 2 and Web 3, building a traditional business with also kind of bootstrapping DeFi liquidity, which is what we're seeing a lot of VCs do in real time, right? Launching a crypto, bootstrapping, raising funds type of liquidity. I think it's very short lived. I think every pump that we're going to see on Solana is going to get lesser and lesser, which is why I think a lot of eyes are attracted to AVAX. And on AVAX, you have legitimate businesses that are being built, like NF Treasure. And you even see it with Juicy, right? With with what Moonbags is kind of building with the Web3 OnlyFans, the OnlyFans of crypto, et cetera, et cetera, right? But like people are bullish on the IRL businesses, and like ever since I read the white paper, ever since I saw your vision back in early of last year, it all made sense, and it's just cool to kind of see. And I've been playing the game, right? I have a couple of keys. They've been laying treasure, and shout out to you as well, to your community, for putting together the daycare that I've been using to manage my keys for me, right? Just depositing some AVAX, depositing treasure, depositing smarter token, and just letting the try tokenomics in a way, just kind of flywheel effect in the background, right? And it's just cool to just watch how it's evolved. And now I don't think any of us really this time last year or the couple of years really saw how fast AI technology was going to start to accelerate. And it feels, well, we kind of have seen AI video models, get a sneak peek of that over these last couple of years, and it hasn't really been that good. The famous one with Will Smith and all that stuff, and kind of just seemed like it was right there, but it was kind of like a carrot in front of this carrot on the stick type vibe. But the meme generation, the art generation, I should say, from AI and just kind of the advancements that we've seen, DeepSeek being released a week ago. Remember that scare that, was trying to shake you out of your generational wealth positions right before this massive up move that we're going to see in February that will only make sense in hindsight, right? Remember that scare where everyone was panicked and freaking bearish for a day, 2 days? Like DeepSeek, right? Like all the AI technology is just getting crazy. And for you to intertwine it with your business, watch it help scale NF Treasure, put more power into the community's hands to make some branding, make some merch. It's just incredible, man. I like what you're doing. It's a net positive for the entire space. And I'm bullish on NF Treasure. I'm also really excited now that I know that the Treasure emissions might end early Q3. Like, guys, NFA, DYOR, this is for entertainment purposes only, et cetera, et cetera. But like, that's really bullish. We've seen NF Treasure's sales grow month after month since launch in early 2024, right? And as this continues to scale, and as John has mentioned on this space, right, as it continues to scale and it's cooking on all cylinders, multiple fronts, right, as it continues to grow its monthly revenue, right? Once the treasurer emissions end and they reach over that hurdle on a monthly basis, right? Being able to use profits to buy back into the treasure token, right? Like, again, it's built-in buybacks on top of a cult-like community. Like, is that not what we're bullish on with Ket, right? Like, a lot of people are bullish on Ket because it has an AI trading agent that's supposedly, going to be able to get X amount of percent on its trades on a monthly basis, on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, whatever, and then a portion of those funds will go into buybacks of the token, right? Like, that's supposedly theoretically why people are also really bullish on the trading agent of Ket, right? Beyond the memetics, right? So I don't see how this would not exactly translate to an IRL business that maybe isn't making trades on chain and automated trades, but it has business founder and project lead like John Ray that's at the helm of this business model that's growing it month after month, going into the super cycle of not only crypto but the integration of AI into society, right? Like, man, I feel comfy with investments in NF Treasure, not gonna lie.
This space was downloaded via spacesdown.com. Visit to download your spaces today.
Pretty bullish, man. What else you guys got cooking with NF Treasure?
Yeah, well, I appreciate all that, and yeah, I think the biggest thing that is difficult, or the thing that's most difficult building in crypto, is that most people who are thinking about a crypto project are thinking about it in 90 days to a year timeline, and they want everything right away. And we've really approached this as, how do we become a decades long business, and we've approached it as, how would we run this if we had VC investment? Because essentially our key holders gave us an early seed that allowed us to build something that will ultimately be able to sustain for many years to come. Now, we could have taken half of that and dumped it into marketing and KOLs the way that most crypto projects do, and continued to sell vaporware and just tried to extract as much value as possible and say, hey, we had a good run, but that's crypto. Instead, we treated it more like a VC investment. And in a VC investment, you're typically given 18 months to build out and find product market fit. The treasure token didn't even launch until February 28th of last year. So we're only 11 months into the DeFi game, 12 months into the e-commerce store, and we're already finding a really solid product market fit. By 18 months, we're going to be so dialed in that we feel very confident about the next phase of the treasure project. And this is something that we've been calling Project Y for the time being. It will have its own name and branding in the future, but it's basically something that Mikkel and Joe and I, that's our dev team, our lead devs, they have an extensive background in artificial intelligence development and designing community reward systems. And so they bring a wealth of knowledge from other projects into Treasure, and they have a lot of IP that can be brought in as well. That's allowed us to kind of think in a bigger frame. And what Project Y will be is essentially this AI agent that allows you to earn points for various IRL missions that are connected to the NFC chip. And NF Treasure will be a client of Project Y, but everyone in NF Treasure will basically be carving out a 30% seed slug in Project Y. We plan to do a VC raise for that. Our advisors tell us that right now, based on our pitch deck, they think that we could raise 900,000 to 1.5 million at a 15 to 20 million dollar valuation. And Project Y basically allows us to take all of the success that we've seen in NF Treasure. NF Treasure is the merchandising business. It's physical products that are connected to our NFC tag, but then it allows us to use Project Y to essentially add these additional rails, which is a point system, a reward system, and an AI agent that allows you to engage with the community, and that connects people into various networks. This allows us to take some of the conversations that we're having and essentially have other people build projects onto Project Y. This, and with Treasure being the example of what that looks like. And this is where our L1 will come in, where those projects can basically build on the rails of our L1, and Treasure key holders will have a unique opportunity based on their key level to be validators of that L1. So we're talking to everyone from, high level people in the Dungeons and Dragons world to people that are in the music industry, but we really think that our core demographic for this, we think, are going to be the type of projects that you would see on Kickstarter. All of those Kickstarter projects are raising money, and they need a way to actively engage a community over a long period of time so that they don't suffer from the community getting fatigued and not letting them have enough time to deliver the full extent of their vision. This is what all founders that are building a community run into. Is, no offense to the community, because I've been this community member before, but when you're in a project, you want to see results right away. And sometimes there's a gestation project. You can't just force the woman who just got pregnant to have the baby. You have to go through the gestation period. And so what Project Y will allow other startups to do is essentially build out what we built out for NF Treasure with some extra bells and whistles that are connected into this AI ecosystem that allows that community to start being rewarded for telling stories about the brand or project that they're engaging with. And then our AI will connect those people and create basically an aggregated feed that allows you to use the product that you purchased or the product that you're engaging with to find other people like you. If I buy a cockbook shirt from NF Treasure and somebody else that I don't know buys a cockbook shirt from NF Treasure, it's likely that we have more in common than just cockbook. And so our AI agent basically becomes a networking club that automatically connects you with other people who have made similar purchases or have engaged with other NFC tags that have been tagged or categorized for the thing that you're into. And we feel that this can be a really powerful tool to create a tight and potent feedback loop for product founders. Because as I mentioned, when you're raising VC capital, you're basically convincing a VC to give you 18 months to find a product market fit. If you can't find it within those 18 months, you're never going to get a Series A, B, or further investment. So it's vital that you find your product market fit within those 18 months. You need active feedback and beta testers in order to do that. And Project Y will be designed to create a incentivization and reward structure that allows for that type of feedback from a community while forming true meaningful connections so that even if these people are anon, they'll be able to interact and feel like they're working on something together. Even in NF Treasure right now, we ask for a ton of community feedback and the community is very involved, but I still feel like people are somewhat siloed into their own things. There isn't really a great mechanism for us to say, hey, this person had this idea, this person had this idea, and this person had this idea. Let's automatically put you guys into a group chat that allows you to work these things out and coalesce for product market fit. The AI agent that we'll have within Project Y will be designed to do things like that. And it will be designed to extract stories from a community and then display those on a brand's homepage. So for example, the Dungeons and Dragons idea, we've recently been doing some trading cards for people that play D&D, where they get their characters and all the power put on these trading cards. We feel like this is a multi-million-dollar opportunity to tap into that marketplace and offer these trading cards. And we're looking at people to head that up as an opportunity, basically as a separate project that would build on the rails of Project Y. We think that they could get their own VC investment for something like this based on the advisors that we have. And the way that it would look is when you're playing Dungeons and Dragons, it's a storytelling game. If you've never played, the whole thing is about you expressing your creativity to tell the story to the table of players of what's happening on the game board. And that story is called a campaign in D&D. Well, there's a ton of tracking of that campaign, what has happened in the story, in order to pick up the next time and make sure that you're picking up the story where it left off. There are some really popular apps for note taking in D&D, but there's not really a good AI agent. And what our AI agent would allow you to do is, as you have your campaign, you could basically an AI would take notes from you on what happened in the campaign. It would aggregate it, allow you to ask questions about the campaign, and allow you to recall anything that's ever happened 6 months ago in the story of your group's campaign. Now, if you've never played D&D, this may not seem like a big deal, but I promise you it's a huge opportunity, and it's the type of thing and project that we want to attract to build on top of the rails that will exist within Project Y. And of course, anyone in all of our treasure key holders will be seed slug investors into Project Y based on their existing key levels. So what this allows us to do is again, I talked about how advisors will tell you the best way to make money is to go after really targeted really targeted and strategic problems that need to be solved, where people are willing to pay a lot of money. And so we think that we can turn Project Y into essentially a magnet for VC investment, because our system of rails will allow for the best feedback engine to be able to develop a product like this, get quick iteration, and then be able to deliver physical products that allow for IRL engagement. So still fine tuning some of that, but NF Treasure, which is rebranding as Treasure, assuming our vote goes through on Monday, which it looks like it will, is poised to basically capitalize on that opportunity, that larger opportunity, and to be the beneficiary of some of that VC investment, which most of which will go into team expansion and to marketing. The reason that I share all of that is that we're still in that 18-month period of figuring out what the product market fit is. But what everyone has told us is what's been built in NF Treasure is the perfect example of how to activate a community and get them to trust you and get feedback from them and have it be something that lasts for multiple years. You know how many brands are trying to get a community to stay with them for multiple years at a time? And so by extracting all of the lessons that we've learned here and building out a decentralized Rails system where anybody can integrate that, that's just another value input into the Treasure ecosystem that all of our holders will be able to take advantage of.
I was literally going to tell you to ding that shit, Clint.
I was waiting for it, man. I was waiting for it. I could hear it through the telepathy. Hey, Clint, ding that shit. I was like, all right, I guess. Let me pull up the soundboard. All right, there it is.
Tonight's one of those podcasts, Clint, where people are going to look back, wishing they were on with all of us tonight after a crazy ass week. Where and again, this was not scripted. This was not a paid endorsement. Like I did not pre-script anything before with John. Like I just went for it because I felt the time was right, and he clearly does also because of the change in regulatory conditions. Coming. The tailwinds coming here in America. Obviously, the legalities aside. I mean, it's busted wide open right now. Even you, Clint, I can hear it in your voice. I could see the hamster. I can see the hamster in your brain right now, spinning around on a late Friday night, being like, "Holy shit, this thing is so under the radar. It's not even funny." And then he drops Project Y. I mean, it's going to be one of these shows. People are going to look back like, "Holy crap, how did we miss this?" You get those vibes, right?
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, and I know we may not have the most listeners that are here live, but the podcast does do pretty good at picking up some people that like to listen back to the replay. So if you're listening to this and you want to share with people, feel free, spread it around because there's a small window that I see, about another year. And again, I think one of my favorite quotes is, grow so big that you become undeniable, right? Where people can no longer ignore you. And that's what I feel like John is doing with NF Treasure. And eventually he's going to get to the point where he's so big, it's undeniable. And it's going to become a question of like, how did we not see this coming? It's kind of like how I feel right now seeing Far rip, right? It's kind of like how I feel right now watching Pharaoh rip and have its moment of glory. Because I remember having conversations with Austin, Lame Hillbilly, back last year, right? And I didn't do as proper of a jump into their ecosystem as I should have. And I've seen people that did get involved in their ecosystem are absolutely cooking right now. And I cannot be more happy. I couldn't be more happy. The writing was on the wall. The writing was on the wall, and it's still early for them. It's still not too late to get involved. And I feel like people are already saying that about NF Treasure, right? But it is still so early where I have a feeling it's just going to reach a place of escape velocity where people are going to be like, damn, how did I not see this coming? And as Wex said, these podcast episodes, even dating all the way back to last year, history, right? History that we are seeing unfold. And that's kind of why I like to reference on tonight's episode, just kind of my first time coming across John within crypto, the growth that I've seen, the disappearance from, the Jade days to the rebranding of NF Treasure to the relaunch and making that community whole. Following through with the Jade distributions, the Treasury distributions, people getting money right before the cock launch, aping into it, turning that into X amount, whatever, right? Squid Games within crypto over and over again, and the rebranding and the relaunch of NF Treasure, and then just the scaling of it over these last couple of years, not even last couple of years, really the building and then the launch of last year, and now here we are in year 2, ready to absolutely scale, and it feels like crypto is just gonna. We're getting into that silly season, guys. It's almost silly season time. It already is, but like it's about to get crazy in February. I'm telling you right now, if the charts do what I think it's going to do, AVAX is going to go into up mode, and that means the entire ecosystem is going to freaking send, and it's going to be glorious. It's what I've been thinking for the last couple of months, even so. It feels like the stars are lined up, and this is going to directly affect NF Treasure and all communities really on AVAX. Wex, go ahead.
I mean, there's a million things going through my head right now. First of all, I already think NF Treasure's out of escape velocity, even if it officially isn't yet. It's pretty much a done deal at this point. And I think again, and I'll say it again, and to all the recorded listeners again, you will look back and ask yourself, how the fuck did we not pile into Treasure right now at this moment in time? John, what's the market cap of it right now? It's not even. I mean, it's peanuts. It
That's
makes no sense. The risk
776.
reward is so. It's like one of the greatest asymmetrical bets in my opinion right now in AVAX. And I say that as somebody
Yeah,
who's
the market cap got totally distorted because we Deck Screener and all of the screeners would not remove our rewards pools from the market cap. So we started off with like $100 million market cap, and now we're at like 900,000 or something, so sub a million. And that's really the nature of high velocity DeFi rewards tokens. We're literally giving out, millions of free tokens every single day. But the narrative to latch onto is that those the mechanism is for fairly distributing the entire treasure supply. So there's two ways to play it. The short term game is, let me sell my rewards as soon as I get them and extract the least amount of value as possible. That's the dummy way to do it. Or if you believe in the long-term mission, and you really should only be in the project if you do, because it's stupid to do it otherwise, you try to get as much of the treasure supply as possible and stake that for voting escrow. Your voting escrow grows by 0.125 voting escrow per treasure staked per hour. So the longer that you have your treasure staked, the more voting escrow you're going to get, which ultimately means that you're going to be carving out more of that mailbox money down the line. And so there's a few ways to play it, but with 200 million or 190 million treasures still left to be distributed in the key game, it makes a lot of sense to get some keys while AVAX is cheap. Smarter has never been cheaper. Up level them so that you never have to think about Smarter again, and then just consistently stake that treasure so that you can be earning that voting escrow and own the largest portion of the bonus pool as possible, because ultimately that's where the revenue gets distributed. Now, we're going to have off months where revenue is lower than expected, and we're going to have months where we hit a big client account and it's way higher than expected. And so there has to be the vision of an aggregate over a period of time that smooths out that distribution curve. But ultimately, I feel really confident in what we're doing. I feel like we have found part of our product market fit and will find the full fit by the time the treasure supply has run out. It's crypto season. The president is fully on board. We have a mechanism to be able to capture all of that retail traffic that's coming through now through the dynamic SEO. And then let's talk about why we're rebranding from NF Treasure to Treasure. So when we started NF Treasure, it was on the tail end of Smartcoin and Jade. Let's not remember that I used to be wildly hated in this ecosystem for trying to save those projects. And on the tail end of that, we were able to negotiate with those old teams to distribute $37 million back to Jade holders, which happened last November. And then another 2.1 million was distributed last week to Jade holders, fulfilling that promise. But one of the other promises that was negotiated out of that was that this old team there gave us $400,000 to build whatever the community wanted. And we thought it would be really cool to showcase how you could actually build a decentralized project. So we've had over 240 votes for various things in the project, and one of those things was the name of the project. We had tons of project names that were submitted. And NF Treasure ended up winning out. This was when we picked the name as a community. I think it was still early 2022. So NFTs were still popping off. They hadn't soured in the mind of the retail public yet. And NF Treasure was originally pitched as a way to revitalize dead NFT projects, because all of these discords that we saw with NFTs had communities that were still in the Discord. And even though the NFT wasn't worth anything anymore, that it had become a banner for these communities to go and find other projects together. And so the original thing was we were going to pitch to those people. Well, that actually worked well. I mean, that thesis proved itself out. We had plenty of people. The meta moved to meme coins, and so all those NFT people ended up becoming meme coin projects. They all listed on NF Treasure. And as I said, we shipped out over 10,000 NFC connected items last year. However, we are now having much more high profile conversations with big brands. And the number one thing that these big brands say, and for the record, some of these big brands are big NFT brands, And every single one of them says, you got to drop NFT. We are trying to distance ourselves from NFTs. Even though we are an NFT project, we're trying to distance ourselves from it because the meta just was so bad. And when a big brand says that to you, that's potentially, a $500,000 contract, you have to take it seriously. So 3 different brands now have said that when I've met with them. And these big corporate brand deals have so much red tape. They take a year to get everything into place. So we're taking those as they come and moving things inch by inch. But one of the big blocking points was we don't want to be connected with NFTs. We want to use blockchain technology, but we don't want to have to say that it's NFTs. And if you have a powered by NF Treasure here, people are going to immediately associate that with NFTs and think it's a scam. So everybody said, why not just rebrand to Treasure? We would totally support that. It plays into the whole idea that you guys are building out this community rewards networking opportunity that's connected to the NFC. So last week I brought that to the community, as we always do. I laid out the facts of the matter, and I let the community vote if they thought it was a good idea to change the name to Treasure. Overwhelmingly, over 95% of the community voted that they wanted to do that. We had a second vote on some variations of Treasure, Treasure Co., Treasure Company, Treasure Supply Co. Ultimately, during that second vote, Treasure just independently on its own won out. And now, as of this afternoon, we have a snapshot vote for an actual on-chain vote where you can use your voting power that you earned in the DeFi game to weight your vote and vote for whether or not we rebrand as Treasure. That vote lasts until Monday, and assuming it passes with the parameters required, I think it's at like 99% yes right now, so I'm sure it's going to pass. We will be dropping the NFT from NF Treasure. RIP. It's been a good run. It served us really well, and Treasure is the new chapter. It's a new year, and I think that will serve us even better as we have dialed in our product market fit a bit further.
I just have to chime in because again, somebody who's been on AVAX for a long time, and I was right there in the beginning. I think my timestamp on chain for Smart was October 22nd, I think, 2021. I have to double check that. And again, I've seen, John, the concept of diligencing founders in Web3. It is so hard to do. And, this isn't like a call to the bullpen. This is like, again, this is a fucking no-brainer, guys. Like, you have somebody, and I know your project lead, John. I get that, and I get all the jargon and the legal jargon. But at the end of the day, trust is the ultimate currency, and especially in the wild, wild west of crypto. And what you have done is nothing short of remarkable, if not straight up miraculous. Although you would just call it another, typical day, of course, in John Ray world. But to see that trajectory and everything you said, even the name of NF Treasure. I mean, I was there. I was there. I remember those votes for all the different ideas and suggestions, and to see what you've done, stewarding, at the helm, and just continuing to let this thing grow. And I would almost call it an organic growth because again, like you said, like there was no cock at the time. There was no meme coins, right? There was no number one, meme coin community or meme coin token on AVAX like Cock Inu when you were thinking about NF Treasure, and just to see with each new hurdle, no pun intended, that you pass and progress, it's spectacular. It's spectacular. It's almost so classic that this is not already $100 million market cap. It's almost like the universe is giving people a second chance to get in now on the ground floor. I would almost say this next week, like I have absolute conviction that starting February 5th, 6th, 7th, the markets are just gonna fucking rip. NFA DYOR, folks, and the way John laid out the price points right now between AVAX and Treasure and Smarter right now, there's like a crazy window that's opening these next few days right now, and I couldn't think of a better time. So, John, honestly, it's all about, for me, it's all about the horses and the jockeys. And I know you're just the project lead, but it's way more than that. You're the spirit of this entire whatever I'm not going to call it the blob because I'm not giving any shout outs to the deep state on a Friday night, but whatever organism that's here that just keeps growing in incredible direction. This is you, my friend. You're the spirit and the soul of it. And I commend you, man. I blow major flowers up your decentralized ass for your dedication and resolve. This stuff is not easy. You want to talk about, putting your reputation on the line in Web3 is like evil Knievel style, right? It's absolutely insane. So, congratulations on getting to where NF Treasure, soon to be Monday Treasure has gotten, and just, keep rocking, man. Just keep rocking, because as far as I'm concerned, Web3 needs more people with you. With you, I mean, with integrity, right? People that, like I always say about Wojak in Gribbly, people who have moral compasses and their ethics, clarified, and you clearly do, because you clearly are the kind of guy that could be Rumple freaking Stillskin and weave gold out of fucking anything, and you're spending your time in Web3 in the most degen stuff possible. So you're a special soul for wanting to do that in the first place. We're lucky to have you, and I'm hoping people down the road will take a look at you when they're trying to check the boxes of what would make a founder market fit for a startup nation type of idea for a protocol or company in Web3. Peace and love, John. Wax out.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And, the reason that I continue to build in Web3, they've, it's interesting because I've been looking at Trump and I'm like, why? How does Trump have so much energy? Because sometimes I feel like that. I feel like I'm up all the time. I just constantly feel the urge to be doing stuff, and I see people post all the time about Trump, how he only sleeps like 4 hours a night, and yet he's eating McDonald's every single day, and I figured out what I think it is. It's that there's something powerful in a feedback loop where half of the world loves you and half of the world hates you. And especially in those early days when I was pulling out of the tailspin that the Smartcoin and Jade community left, I felt that. I got death threats, I got physical threats, I got legal threats, and yet I had a huge part of the community that was ready to build. They just wanted the opportunity to build something cool. And to now have this is so satisfying, especially in reflection on those old where we came from, our roots. But it really was kind of that yin yang of oppositional energy versus community support that created this perfect storm of motivation for me, and continues to, because I know that I have to be accountable to a group of hundreds and thousands of people, and that's wildly motivating. And it's not easy. It requires a deep mindfulness practice and a strong constitution to be able to stomach some of the feedback that comes, some of it rightfully so. And at the same time, I wouldn't trade it for anything, because it is the mechanism that I feel has consistently kept me in my stretch zone and allowed me to accelerate towards an ever moving target of excellence. I'm not saying that I've hit it or that we hit it all the time, but just having that upward trajectory, that target moving and being held by the community is incredibly valuable, because as an experiential person, i I oftentimes don't have the right idea, but I'm very aware of when the right idea shows up. So if 100 people send me an idea, I will immediately know the one that the energy is ready for. And I feel like that has been the partnership between our community, is that I don't always have the answers, but I know that I can ask any question to a group of hundreds of people who will give me feedback, and then I will instantly know the one that makes the most sense given the current landscape, market, and energy. And that's just been really fun, and it's been such a cool environment to practice all of the metaphysical spiritual stuff that I'm in, because I hold the frame that the miracle has already happened, that as long as I'm clear on my vision, it will actualize. And I see every single day that this community gets moved into my field to present the exact thing that I needed in the exact time that I needed it. And that is wildly satisfying as a spiritual seeker.
John, I'm not going to lie. I think I'm going to need to take your PFP and put it on a T-shirt and just run around Summit in London with your face on my belly. I don't know how else to say it, man. I just have to let you know that.
We will allow that for $42.
You know, John, let's be honest, right? Because in the beginning, you weren't necessarily so comfortable. And this is a quasi shift into a faux X After Dark live on the podcast on a Friday night. But remember, we were talking behind the scenes, right? When you saw people like me actually, putting myself out there and making myself vulnerable, talking about the kind of stuff you just said, and to hear you talk about it now so casually, nonchalantly, and feeling comfortable, feeling vulnerable, right? Saying stuff that again is maybe for guys like you and I, it's just the way it's always been but for up and comers or new people or people just beginning to understand the matrix constructs we live in, right? That's some pretty intense stuff you just dropped. I got to say. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, man. Well, that's what it's all about. And in the reality simulation cooker that we're all in, it's nice to have catalytic events to test your ideas against. I think that there are some people who are frequency anchors and they're calling in a higher frequency for the planet. And so if they feel the best use of their ability to channel that type of energy is to meditate all day long or to go in a cave and be a monk, I do think that's needed. Like I think that provides balance to the energy plane as a whole. But there's also an opportunity to be a mover in that and to dance with the energy. And the way that it comes on for me is that I feel my big feelings about everything. I get really clear on what I want to create, and then I get slugged in the head with an idea, or somebody in our community says something that hits me so strongly, and they didn't even know it was going to hit that strong, but when they say it, I'm like, oh god damn it, that's it. And then all of the energy to actualize that just shows up, and there's nothing more fun than being in the midst of inspired action. And I have really enjoyed how my life has allowed me to be in that place so often.
Yeah, and again, you're tapping into hardcore um, principles, right, in truths of the universe, right? You just mentioned something like how you're so locked in and so super focused on what your vision is that that you're communicating out to the universe so effectively that it's going to be mirrored back, right, IRL. Which again, you're talking about real secrets, right? It's the manual that the elites don't want anybody to know, right? How to manifest properly is have your vision and have it communicated internally, scripted so real that you're communicating with absolute detail that you know yourself, and that gets mirrored in. And that, I mean, that's what I'm hearing from you, at least. That's what I try to do as well. And I think these are universal truths that are slowly going to, I don't know the right word, it's not morph, but I think more and more people are gonna come around to understanding that we really are in control of our own reality. We just have to be really clear with ourselves what we want, and then we can see that mirroring out in our lives.
Yeah, and one of the things that I'm so excited about, the tech that we're building, this kind of community connection tech, which I'm not even voicing effectively. It'd be fun to have Mikkel on one of these, because I think he has a really grasp of the technical implementation of this. But at a visionary level, the way that I see it in my mind is that I want to empower more people to operate as a unit of consciousness. We're really getting into after hours now. And when we're operating as a solo operator of consciousness, we have this limited worldview because we're basically constrained to our physical body. But one of the things that has been maybe the most spiritually awakened concept that smacked me in the face while working in to build decentralized communities is that the community becomes a connected organism, and it becomes a net for conscious inspiration. And so it's so funny because when a challenge pops up or when I can't solve something, oftentimes I don't even have to put it into the Discord or say anything. I just sit there and I recognize it actually brings laughter to me, is the feeling of it, because I'll be sitting there meditating, asking for the solution. And then it's so hilarious to me because I know I'm going to open my phone and somebody's going to have already sent me a message that solves it. And that happens so often, and in such an anomalous way that it just leads me to believe in a deeper, more convicted fashion that we are all connected, especially when we have our intention pointing in the same direction. And if anybody's ever had a religious experience in church, or even at a music festival, I think that heightened state of consciousness is because at a music festival you have 1,000 people that all have the same intention, and they're all directing their attention towards one thing, and that performer is channeling the energy of the crowd and then beaming it back to them through the feedback system. Same thing when you go to church. There's a channeling of all of that energy there, and the intentionality is that we're here for worship. Well, in a decentralized community, whatever the mission of the community is, whatever the purpose of the community is, whatever the goals of the community are, become the shared intention of that community. And that connects everybody into a consciousness web that I feel allows for answers to actualize faster than if you were just trying to build it on your own. And I think that we can utilize our community building agent to create that type of network effect in order to literally channel consciousness into your startup so that you find product market fit faster.
Quint, ding it. Oh, you already did it.
Some fire conversations being had late night here on the podcast. It's been a good one. I would highly recommend listening back to the replay, catching all the updates that NF Treasure's got going on, and what John Ray's been cooking up behind the scenes. Very excited to see the rebranded TRESR, and very excited just honestly for the future of NF Treasure. We're at the 90-minute mark, so I'm going to go ahead and wind it down. Is there any closing thoughts to either John or Wex that you guys wanted to add before we go ahead and wrap it up for tonight's episode? Sounds like we do need, though, an After Dark Spaces, maybe not tonight, but potentially this weekend if Wex is feeling in the mood. But any closing thoughts, anything that you would like to add, maybe something that we missed, John, that you want to add before we wind it down?
I I think the biggest thing that I would say is go to nftreasure.com. The new website is up. We haven't announced it yet because we're still working out a couple of kinks, but 99% of the time it's working very well. Go to nftreasure.com, just use the new product creator tool, and then start creating merchandise. The our AI merch bot isn't ready yet, so you're going to have to use another AI tool or go to something like Kittl. Ping me and I'll show you how you can make a good enough design that will sell, even if you're not a designer. But what we're about to roll out, this tag cloud that we're about to roll out, that is basically optimized SEO for every single meme coin and keyword in crypto. If you go and create a design and then tag it with a bunch of keywords that are relevant to that design, only do it if it's relevant to that design or it's not going to convert. That's going to automatically make you a part of this ad and SEO campaign that we're building out. And then in the weeks and months to come, we'll build out that opportunity leaderboard that I'm talking about, where we're going to be able to look at our analytics back in data and showcase, wow, the UFD unicorn fart dust community has 1,000 people a week going to our page, and there's only one product there. This is crazy. Here's an opportunity for anybody who has an idea for this community to go in and put a product up or a series of products up so that they can capture and convert on some of that traffic, and then you earn 10 to 40% of that product based on your key level. That's almost $40 on a hoodie that you're earning. It's so insane that we give such high commissions, but that's mostly because we see our merchandise business as lead gen in order to build out this larger tech business. And so because we have multiple streams of income, it allows us to give a ton of that back as commissions to our community. So be on the lookout for that. We also have some really kick-ass patch hats that we didn't even get into. Clint and I maybe will launch those on another thing, but they are available in the product creator tool. And Clint gave me this idea, and so I don't know if you want to talk about what you're cooking, Clint, or if you want to wait until we actually release them. But these hats are absolutely sick. I love them, and the product creator tool has it where you can connect any NFT, put it on a patch hat, and order it. We'll ship it out this week, and it's going to be a really I think all of our products at NF Treasure are super high quality. We source them to be higher quality than anything you're going to find on the big box print on demand stores. But our two most unique products that I think we can sell 50,000 of each of these over the next year are our trading cards, which are absolutely epic. Shout out to Wojak and Gribbly and Clint for being the beta testers that brought those into the world. We had already developed the tech, and right when they wanted to release a card, I was like, actually, we have the whole thing figured out. So our NFC connected trading cards, where you can connect any NFT and get a physical slabbed card that's authenticated on chain, these are so underselling because we haven't promoted them yet, and they're about to blow up. So go and get one of those. You connect your wallet, you select the NFT, we ship you out a slabbed card. And then the hats, these patch hats, you'll see them on the website. It's a high quality flex fit hat that has a patch with your NFT or whatever artwork you put inside an embroidered patch. They look great. They feel great. It's a super high quality hat. We're giving these away for a steal. We should be charging way more for this high quality of a hat. But we just want everybody to say that Treasure is the best merch in crypto. So check out the store, order something, and then when you get it, post a picture, and maybe you'll end up on the homepage of NF Treasure. Because as you'll see, we've rebranded the homepage where we now have community feedback and tweets that are highlighted right there on the homepage. And we'll be building out a page that has every tweet that somebody tags with a photo from NF Treasure /treasure.
Just had a nice idea, with the summit right down the road. You got a nice little runway. I mean, a good hat design is printing your own, PFP on a hat, and then you're walking around the summit and, you say, hey, I'm X on Twitter, and your PFP is literally your hat. Maybe you get some wording as well.
Oh my God, that is such a brilliant idea for going to a crypto conference. Right? I'm putting that on the sales page.
I mean, why not? I look down in the audience and I see a whole bunch of PFPs, right? You see their name, of course, and familiar faces, but if you have an instant connect, and it's like literally somebody at the summit can just scan the patch, the NFC patch under the PFP, and boom, it takes you right to their Twitter page where you can follow them instantly. You know what I mean? Type shit. Anyways. Maybe if you're not a hat person, there's another option like the trading cards, which John said, both of which these items, the cards and the hats, probably selling 50,000 plus items in 2025. Bullish for the business of NF Treasure and bullish for the holders of the Treasure token, right? You talk about converting Web2 businesses successfully into the Web3 space. NF Treasure's laying the model for this, but very cool, man. I'm looking forward to those cards. Getting mass produced and promoted, and the hats as well. I love that hat design, the cock hat. That's a pretty famous hat, and to be able to put some nice artwork on it and nice little wording. Should be a good seller. So can't wait to reveal that on stream. But
Dude, that hat is so epic, and I'm sorry I didn't have it ready for this Twitter space, but you had a good idea, or I think it was your idea, to round the corners out, and so we retooled our whole embroidery machine to be able to round those corners out, and I think it's going to look really
that's
awesome.
impressive, man. I mean, again, the white glove service that you offer to simple community members like myself, right? I mean, I'm not a special case. Any community member that's reaching out to John is getting a white glove type of service, because that's just how he operates his business, and it's incredibly impressive. Again, it's another green flag, right? When you're looking to be bullish on, projects here in crypto, be bullish on people, right? Be bullish on proper founders that have a track record of success and consistency. And John, you definitely fit into this category of people that I am very bullish on here in the crypto space. So I want to say thank you for taking time out of your Friday evening, joining us here on the podcast. It's been a phenomenal one. I'm sure we could talk for hours. I'm a little spent. I'm a little beat. It's been a long week. Looking forward to the weekend. Looking forward to February, guys. I mean, January is now literally behind us, right? The monthly candle is closed, right? We can look at the monthly candle on AVAX, the monthly candle on BTC, and as we look into 2025 February, right? I'm super bullish going into February, guys. I think February is going to be up month, as Wex said. February 4th, February 5th. This is a date that Sam, the Carpet Man, in his trading book has. He's prophesized as the day that we go up, we go vertical. So it might be choppy over the weekend. We might see continued up action, but going into next week, guys, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I'm expecting some fireworks. Charts are lined up. Stars are aligned. I don't know what the news event is going to be. That's going to be an excuse to move price. But, I mean, this is a beautiful time to be in AVAX. And I'm looking forward to watching it all unfold. So, fantastic episode tonight. Wex said it. I think this will be something that's referenced in the future as people, realize how much of a cook NF Treasure's been over these couple years, and soon to be just called TRESR, and how much of a no-brainer it was to get involved in their ecosystem. It doesn't take much, guys. A little bit of diving into the docs, a little bit of due diligence, and a little bit of participation in the ecosystem can pay off in a big way. We've seen it time and time again within this AVAX ecosystem, and NF Treasure is no joke. It's not too late to get involved in the ecosystem. Make yourself a key, start producing some treasure tokens, right? Playing the DeFi loop and setting yourself up for the back end when the treasure mission ends and the IRL business starts printing money as it scales and does buybacks on the token, right? Similarly to why we're bullish on Ket, the number one trading AI agent here on AVAX right now, right? For it to be doing automated trades and then buying back the token. It's the same type of schematic with NF Treasure, right? NF Treasure, the treasure token emission ends, right? And the IRL business that's scaling is now doing buybacks on the token and the DeFi side of things. I mean, it's a beautiful loop. It's a beautiful flywheel. It's something that I think was missed within the chicken tri-tokenomics, right? We just had chicken emissions. There was attempts to burn as much egg as possible with the Ignite launchpad and partnering with projects and doing egg races and a whole bunch of stuff. But unfortunately, there wasn't enough buy pressure on egg, right? Because egg is an emissions token. There's not enough buy pressure, people needing to buy egg for price to go up. It's kind of why we've seen a downward spiral kind of with Treasure, right? Because it's an emissions token. People emit the Treasure token, they dump it on the market. They're just trying to extract the minimum value, as John said, from the ecosystem as possible, instead of playing the game, playing the long game, letting the business grow, and then letting the business, the IRL business of NF Treasure, eventually buy back their tokens at a higher and higher price as they do token buybacks, right? So, it's something that I think was missed within Chicken. Of course, hindsight is 2020. The Chicken NFT ecosystem is nowhere from being fully over at all. The game cockfight, exciting for 2025. Let's just say that. But again, taking those tri-tokenomics models, applying it to what NF Treasure has built within their DeFi ecosystem, and then the emissions are going to be ending here halfway through 2025. As you can see, John's flywheel in his brain of how to scale NF Treasure is at an all-time high, and his trajectory for building the IRL business, the Web2 business, the merch business, right, to higher and higher heights in 2025, more and more monthly income, it's only going to lead to success for its investors. So it's making a lot of sense to me. I'm very excited on NF Treasure, and I'm very excited for the AVAX ecosystem, guys. I think it's going to be a fun couple of months. So with that being said, I think that's going to be it for tonight, guys. I'm going to go ahead and wind down tonight's podcast. It's been a good one. John, thank you again for taking time out of your Friday night to spend time here with us on the podcast. Wex, thank you as well for being here, especially through the Cock Media account. You guys have a great rest of your Friday. Have a great start to the weekend. I'm not going to be doing any podcasts over the weekend. We're going to be taking a break Saturday and Sunday and then diving back into it next week, guys. February is upon us. February is upon us. Up only season is here. Silly season is here. Let's lock in. Let's secure the bag and let's promote the red chain to Valhalla. You guys have a great weekend, and I'll see you guys back here on Monday. Bak, everyone.
Bak, bak, y'all.